right? We don't get paid on, the work that you all do until we can actually bill against it, all right? And we can't recognize that revenue either. That's why, for example, we're pushing to finish certain projects out by the end of the year, because let's say we sell a project, and I'm just going to do, for instance, just so everyone knows what I'm talking about. Let's say it was a $50,000 project, okay? If that project, sometimes what we'll do is we'll put milestones in the project, which are billable milestones. And we'll say, hey, we complete the first 2 phases of this project, you pay us 50%, and then when the final 2 phases are done, you pay us the other 50%, all right? That's one example of how a project might be done. The other example might be that the project is just, you don't have to pay until the project's completed, okay? Now, we have kind of a mix of a couple different variations of this sort of terms with our clients, all right? But it's at the very least 50% up front and 50% upon project completion. What that means is like if it's a 50K project and we don't get that project done by the end of the year, then we don't get revenue for all 50K. We only get revenue for whatever we were billed, against the dependent, milestones on that specific proposal.
Right.
All right. So, that is where we can get into issues, especially if, we've sold projects here for this year and they should have frankly been done and they weren't, and we accounted for that revenue in our forecasting, all right, especially with banks and things like that, and then we can't actually bill for it until the following year.
Right.
What that negatively impacts us, obviously. It impacts us all. So it's just important for y'all to, understand the big picture of why we ask that you get your time entry in as soon as possible. Now, some folks like to think that, like to think of a micromanagement mindset. And for example, I'm not picking on Willard, but if you were to ask Willard how to do time entry, he'd be like, you should be doing it daily, and very draconian about it, all right? Now, his perspective on that is because, he's a business owner and he wants us to get paid. Understandable, right? And he is very good at he's actually still a billable engineer, he's very good at, putting his time in every single day. Aaron, going to pick on you for a minute. Aaron's very good at putting his time in daily. Okay?
Oh, wow.
All right? And that really helps the company if you can be that way. Now, I understand, all right, that's a lot to ask because sometimes you get tied up in, and so from my perspective, I've always said, I'd love it if you guys can put in your time entry daily, but at the least do it weekly. All right? So that, because I also was a delivery engineer for many, many years, and I used to get needled by my boss constantly. Where's your time entry? Where's your time entry? I'm like, dude, I'm still in the middle of my work day. F off. I really wouldn't say that, but no, actually I did. But the point is, I didn't like that when I was in your seat either. I felt like that was micromanagement. Like, I'll get my time in eventually, blah, blah, blah. But I do want y'all to understand the dichotomy of why it's so important.
Right.
As a business owner, I totally get it, and I'm like, engineers, get your time in, get your time in. As someone who's been in your seat as an engineer, I'm like, dude, chill out, I'll get it in. So just please at least try to get it in weekly. Question.
Yep. So I could see actually more of an argument for the daily, especially with customer service tickets, where they're having issues and someone else may need to take over a ticket or need to check on the status of it, and it's not up to date, so they don't know what's going on.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Especially when it comes to service desk entries. Those should definitely be prompt and done as soon as possible. Because, for one, the customers, the nature of a service desk is now. And they're trying to get an answer, and there's typically an SLA required, attached to it. Whereas if it's a project ticket, you might have a whole month to do it. It may not be as important for you to get those notes in that day. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, good observation, good point there, Rob. The next point I made is just remember, correct and thorough notes. A lot of times these notes are going to our clients. As a matter of fact, most of the time they are. So we've got to make sure that we are explaining to them what we're doing and what we did in their environment, and sound as professional as possible, and hopefully if you all don't have access to Grammarly, I will get you access to Grammarly. Grammarly is a very good tool to help you catch spelling errors and those sorts of things, because trust me, I suck at spelling too.
Yes.
And I definitely don't have the best grammar.
Yes.
So what I'll do is use that as I'm, typing up notes to make sure that they look professional. And that's just a matter of, imagine you get your AT&T bill and it's all, misspelled. Right? What the hell is these guys doing? Or you get, a invoice from your lawyer and they have a bunch of misspellings. But this one's not a very bright lawyer.
Yes.
So, we just want to look professional, okay? Then correct charge codes, making sure we use correct work type and correct billable category and those sorts of things, all right? So those to me are the very important things in ConnectWise from a management perspective. But now I want Rob and Aaron to take over. One of y'all can share your screens if you want and kind of review the questions that Mitch had. I guess we'll start there and then go organically from there. Cool, thank you, Aaron.
So I even created a few test tickets in there so we can walk through some of these. I've got the list up. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Can everybody see or do I need to zoom this in a little more?
I'm
That's
good.
fine.
We're good.
I'm gonna do it anyway. So the first thing that came up was the concept of bundling tickets versus merging tickets. And good question. Anybody not familiar with the concept or the existence of bundling versus merge? Was anybody not aware that this existed?
Sure, I don't, I mean.
Okay, and that's fine. It's maybe not something that come into mind. What I did here was I created 2 or 4 tickets. 2 bundle tickets, 1 parent, 1 child, and 2 combined tickets, 1 parent, 1 child. So we can actually walk through the concept and show the differences of it. So the main concept is bundling tickets takes multiple tickets and merges them into a single ticket. It basically closes the child tickets that you're bundling with the parent ticket. So you choose what parent ticket, and then you tell it which all child tickets you want to merge to it. All of the ticket notes from the child get merged into the parent, and then the child tickets are closed. So no work is done on the child tickets. This is primarily used when you have multiple tickets for the exact same thing. That way you don't need to perform work on all 4 tickets, since that 1 ticket will do it. So if I, for example, go into this test bundle parent ticket, and yes, I know that XYZ is not billable. This is down in this section over here, and I honestly, I don't know if my layout here is default, so this little widget on your ticket view may be somewhere else, but I think it's by default it's down here under combined. So let's say I get 2 tickets from, say, 2 users that are the exact same thing, or for some reason the user sends in 2 emails or opens up 2 tickets on the same thing. I want to combine them. So I hit the plus here, and I would merge these tickets. And this is the combine, I'm sorry. I think I got that messed up. Combine is when the tickets are the exact same thing.
Okay.
And it's actually called merge. No,
Okay.
not mine. So I'm on the wrong one. Where I have these 2 that say combine, they're supposed to be merged. I just got the wrong naming convention. So combine and merge are the same thing. So I have this parent ticket. I want to combine another ticket to the user submitted, so I'm going to click merge. It's going to, by default, only list other tickets that are open by under the same company. That is a requirement. You can't merge tickets that are from 2 different companies. You'll notice it doesn't even show up in here. Okay. So let's say I'm the combined parent, so I want to add the combined child ticket. Make a sticky note real quick so I can write these down. The parent, merge. Actually, let me do it this way. I can't zoom that. Merge. Parent is 28675. Is 28676, and then the bundle So I'm primarily doing this so we can look at the ticket numbers and see how they respond later. So we have, get this up real quick. So we're in the parent ticket. We want to merge this child ticket. You do want to make sure that you do it in this order. You don't want to merge a parent into a child. You also want to merge a child into a parent. Because once we're done, parent's the only thing that's left. So if I click merge, it's the merge cannot be undone. This is another reason why you want to do it the right way. And then we have 3 options for the merge ticket. This is automatically pulled from our options that set a ticket to close. It doesn't really matter what you set here, so I always just set closed. Like I said, the only reason these 3 come up is because these are the 3 that we can choose that sets the ticket closed status. So it basically just queries all the available statuses that have closed on it. So you can just click close and that's fine. Now we have a merge ticket. You'll see this is the initial note from the parent ticket. It has merged the initial note of the child ticket. And he uses the same timestamp. So this could be something where they were worked separately by 2 different people. For example, the user opens up 2 separate tickets. One engineer grabs one ticket, one engineer grabs another ticket, and they both perform work on it before realizing, hey, this is the exact same issue. Then somebody can choose who wants to run with it, and you merge them, and then all the case notes from both tickets will be in here.
Aaron, quick question.
You can no longer do anything. You can actually click on the child in here, but it will not let you do anything in it because it says this ticket has been merged with its parent ticket. So I can't create any new notes. I can't do anything.
Aaron, quick question for you.
Maybe I can create notes, but I definitely can't do it any time.
All right. So quick question. When you clicked the closed, I believe the other option you said was close no note, and there was some. Right. Would you ever want to do?
The options were closed, no notify, and canceled.
Okay.
Because those are the 3 that set the ConnectWise flag that the ticket has been completed.
Would you ever want?
It's not that I chose to make the 3 options.
Right.
ConnectWise looks at the list of all available statuses and picks out any that set the case to resolve.
Right.
The case to close.
But would you?
I'm sorry?
Would you ever want to choose no notification?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
Because it doesn't send a note out anyway.
That's what I wanted to know. Okay. Thank you.
It doesn't send in this case. It doesn't send a note out.
Okay.
So now that's our combined or bundled ticket. So if we have multiple tickets that are the exact same thing, we can bundle them. The main difference between these, let me get back to my list. And then if you'll notice, the child ticket no longer shows up in here. Oops. Again. The only way I can go back to it basically is either search by the ticket number, where you can go down to the combined list and you'll see that you're the parent and this child is the merged ticket. So as far as bundling cases would be for multiple separate cases that are not the same thing but are related and could be worked in the same fashion. Like if we get warning messages that say like DNS, a user says DNS is unresponsive. We get another one saying, hey, the internal web server web page isn't working, and all of them stem from, hey, a domain controller is down. Then what you could do, instead of say we have all these issues that technically can be all worked at once, instead of going into the DNS one and putting a quick note saying fix DNS by rebooting the web server, and then going into the web server one and putting the exact same note, fix the web server by rebooting the server kind of thing, you could create a new ticket saying domain controller is down, and then bundle the sub-tickets underneath it. The biggest thing on that is you can still work the sub-tickets. You can still apply time just to them, but it allows you to but overarching time over the whole thing if you want. Now, if I were to go in to the bundle parent, and the theory on this was, say we had, like I said, say we got this child ticket is that DNS isn't working, and then we had another child ticket that said the web server's not working. I would then, and then I found out through initial troubleshooting of one of those tickets that they're both related to a single root cause, and instead of working both those tickets separately, doing the exact same thing, I could create this parent and say the domain controller is frozen. I could go in and bundle all the child tickets. What it will do is it'll give me the option for anybody that's assigned to the child tickets. I can move them into the team that's on the parent ticket. I can set them as completed so they don't have to do anything, or I can just remove them from the child ticket. So I guess there's no option to leave them on the child ticket. The default is move. That's usually what I do. So what this would also come into play, like you have 3 different engineers working on 3 different cases, and we find out they're all related to the same root cause. We can then create a single ticket and then bundle them together. All 3 people, all 3 separate engineers from the 3 tickets can be moved to this ticket, so they can all work off of 1 ticket instead of having to work separately on all 3.
Dan, I have a question, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, what the start date and end date? Do we put anything in those spots?
Where did you see that?
On the last pop-up that was just up. Looks like it was grayed out. Didn't have any option to put anything in there, but I just wondered why it was there. Yeah.
Oh, these? Yeah, sorry. That's something, I don't think we've ever used that. That's part of ConnectWise. It's built in like Gantt chart style scheduling and for like scheduling and dispatch, and we've never used that.
Okay. Thank you.
So you don't have to worry about that. One thing I'm fairly certain of, when you're done bundling or merging, you'll notice like the child tickets no longer show up as themselves. On a merged ticket, like I said, it's permanent. I think on a bundle, you can unbundle them. But it's not something I've ever tried. Really hate that message. I just went in, let's see, I just went in and deleted the child ticket off of this. Let's see what happened. And it may not show up in here because it removed me.
Oh, wow.
So you find.
Could you mention again the scenario where you would bundle versus
Merge.
merge?
Merge is if multiple tickets are for the exact same problem, like customer opens duplicate tickets, or one person emails, another person goes onto the portal, etc. If they're the exact same issue, then you would merge them. That way, they basically become one ticket. Bundling would be more for if they're related.
Got it. Okay.
Like my example of if they're actual separate problems, but they are related and could be Worked as one.
Right.
Instead of having to work as multiple, and that's where bundle would come in. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to come from.
Yeah, that could avoid the scenario where you have, for example, one ticket that's, I guess its issue is dependent on an issue being fixed, and that issue is being worked under a separate ticket.
Yeah.
So rather than just having that
Another good
sit
example.
there.
So where you're working an issue and you can't.
So that brings up a question that
I guess bundling is also one way. I thought you could.
For some reason, I was thinking you could too.
Yeah, but I can't find the ticket. I'm bundled.
Huh.
Fascinating. So Ryder brings up a question on one of the tickets in our collaboration group. It's Josh working on. It's like 4 tickets for the same thing, and it was like a Moultrie. It was different cities, but it was in the same brown and carrot ticket. Could those all 4 be bundled or merged? Those 4 tickets
related to.
If you,
Not in that
I'll let
case,
Rob
because
answer.
actually that one started as 1 ticket and I split it out because they were at different locations and had different symptoms, so we had to track them separately.
So completely separate issues.
yeah,
Copy.
Similar, but separate.
Copy.
and that's basically the opposite of merging, but I don't think that's something you can actually do in here. I don't think you can split a ticket.
Well,
You
Josh
basically just have
did.
to
He
create
did.
one. And I've had to do that multiple times where a customer will open up a ticket for one thing, and then as we're discussing it, they'll say, oh, by the way, we also have this problem, and then I'll have to create a new ticket off of that.
So that's what you did, Josh? You did that?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Fascinating.
So yeah, what it really boils down to is if they're the exact same issue and they should be a single ticket, then merge. If they're related and could be a single ticket and it's a choice, then you can bundle them. The biggest thing on bundle, the biggest advantage that bundle has, it allows you to also combine different engineers. So if we've got 4 tickets being worked by 4 engineers, we can bundle them so that all 4 of those engineers now are working on the same one master ticket.
And how does that affect the hours for each of those engineers working on different things on their?
The hours are per person. So,
Okay, got it.
yeah, all the time tracking is at the user level, not the ticket level.
Okay.
The billable is at the ticket level, but the hourly, like billable to the customer is at the ticket level, but billable by a user is at the user level, so it doesn't matter. Any quick questions on that?
No.
I think that's no. Another one came up that said, how do we market tickets on red, which is also not the most intuitive thing. To say, and this comes up a lot with tickets that are attached to multiple engineers. So they'll show up in your list, but if there's another engineer on the team, it'll also show up in their list, right? And if they go and look at it,
Right.
it becomes red for everybody, which I kind of wish there was a way to make the red status per person, but
Yep.
there isn't.
That's a problem. Yeah.
So the way you could do that, so right now this ticket is red, correct? Right, it's not showing up as bold. If I click on it, and again, get this stupid warning. That warning's only there because of XYZ. All you have to do is click this check mark, customer updated. Because that's what the unread status is it's really a status saying customer
right there.
updated. Then we have it set, so if this check mark is checked, then show it in bold. So if I check the check mark and then save and close it, it'll now be bold.
So ultimately, if it's a ticket, you open it, you look at it, and you realize, oh, I'm not the person that's going to be working this.
Right.
Set it back to
Yeah.
customer update, so that
Thank
the
you.
person that does need to see it realizes it's been updated.
Great point, guys. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
And this also applies for unassigned tickets. If a customer like opens a ticket in the portal or via email, and they're still in the unassigned portal, even before it's unassigned, if they reply to the initial email they get, they can continue updating that ticket, and it'll show up in the service desk list as bold, as ticket updated. So you can go in and look at it to see if it's relevant to you, if it's something you need to grab. If it's not, and it was red, then put it back to the red status. That's the way. The main thing is as soon as you click on it,
It turns out.
it automatically checks that.
Yeah.
So if I click on it, it sets it as unread. If I go back without even saving, it's already unread.
Yeah.
So it's not like you have to save. You have to save it to set it to unread status, but you don't have to save it to set it to red status.
Right. Thank you.
The next one on the list was project issue tickets. Let me pull up projects. And this one is dependent on your access level granted to the project. So you have, I think we ended up setting it so you could be a team member and open project issue tickets. I think that was at least one of the things that we were going to do. Let me pull up the project. There's a couple different ways you can do it.
Unless that's recent, it's not the case. It used to be team leads and the project manager only.
And again, I don't know, because all the ones that all the projects that I'm on, they have me as a lead.
Yeah.
So I can't comment on that.
So if you can't do that,
I
just,
think we were discussing this at one point about if project issues, maybe being okay for anyone on the team, or maybe, I can't remember, or maybe we did discuss to leave that at team leaders, that way
we did.
can have a discussion first with a team leader that might know the answer.
Correct.
An issue.
Correct. That's by design. So
Okay.
it'll be the team lead who can open
But
up
for-
the project issue.
Conceptual wise, if you do want to see a project issue, first of all, project issue tickets are listed in this tab when you look at the project. I think this ticket, yeah, I actually have one still open that actually done, I can close it, but there are a couple different ways to open it, open a project issue ticket. The easiest, I think, is just right here, under the More button, you can add a project issue ticket. All you have to do is select what phase it belongs to and then give it a name. And as soon as you click save, it creates that issue. The other way you can do it is inside the Issues tab by clicking a plus. It's a lot more detailed from here. So I recommend doing it the other way.
When will we add a project issue?
It's a lot more automated.
What is that for?
Yeah, let me talk through some scenarios where you would add a project issue ticket, okay? And why it's really, really important that you track your time against project issue tickets, all right? When the scenario calls for it. A project issue ticket might be something where you're working on a project, let's say you're working on a switching project, and I'm just gonna use a made-up scenario here to try to kind of explain a situation. Let's say you go on site and you're just doing a switch swap, and it's supposed to be very little to no cable management, and you get there and it turns out it's a cable management nightmare and they ask you to help, all right? You can still help them and create a project issue ticket, and you would put your extra time against that, all right? That would be a scenario where this time was not budgeted in the project,
That's
all
the
right?
key.
And we don't want you to lump that time in up under something else, because then the project budget that we had set for that would be skewed, all right? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So when we set a project budget aside, if it's a switch install, we try to account for everything you're gonna run into, and we set a firm fixed amount of hours as the budget for that. And then if you then go in and up under the first part of the switch install, let's say it was a rack and stack, okay? And you find all this extra effort, and we figured it should only take you 2 hours, it ends up taking you 6 hours, all right? Then we want to capture that extra 4 hours up under a project issue ticket, so that when we review it, we can understand what did that extra time go to, all right? Now, in some of those scenarios, what we would end up doing is doing a change order if it was too crazy, but that's kind of what we mean by the scenario. Another good example is let's say I think Mitch had this situation recently, where he starts working on a project and it was either something he had never run into before, something that he didn't get a chance to do before, or so it was new to him, or he ran into an issue where he had to lab it up. So he created a project issue ticket to put his time for all that extra effort in that bucket versus the project budget. Again, so we can really look and determine how much of the effort actually went to the project versus how much was extra stuff. What we then do is on subsequent, we review those in the AARs, all right, the process we have for after action reviews for projects. And if we properly have stuff up under the project issues category, then that better enables us to then go and say, hey, this project needs to be subjected to the AAR review. We touch every project, but we'll go through and look and, hey, was this project on budget? Yes, great. It was, it on time? Yes, great. Boom, no AAR, all right? Was there CSAT issues? Boom, no AAR. Maybe we'll do an AAR just because we want to look at a really well-run project in that case. We kind of I decide subjectively, you know. Sometimes I want to look at a really well-run project, but one thing I always want to look at is a project that had a lot of issues on it, or a project that's over budget, so that we can then be like, okay, what happened on this switch refresh? And, you know, it's often we underestimated the scope, we ran into whatever issue, blah, 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 blah. But then we can adjust for the next time. Maybe it's because that customer was a real pain in the ass. So we could literally note that in the AAR.
Work like that?
Right, I know, right? And then when we quote something in the future for that customer, we'll add a little bit of extra PITA fee, okay? We call it risk, all right? But you get the idea, all right? And that way we can properly scope things and become, over time, more efficient and better at scoping stuff.
That sounds good.
Okay? Does that make sense? All right. Sorry, Aaron.
I always treated it as unexpected issues that either we know that it won't, shouldn't affect any future projects of this type. Like we ran into a software glitch and it took us a while to try and figure out what version of software was needed to fix it, which is something that we will then now know for the next time.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be an issue next time.
Just one more point I want to reiterate on this page that you're on too, Aaron.
Yeah.
See, this is why this is so important. So this particular project, you'll see, has 301 hours, okay? And it's got, or is that the total, or is that 301 just for phase one?
That's the budget.
For the
All right, okay,
total
great.
project.
And then those make up the totals, yeah, I get it.
And these are the,
All right.
this is what was budgeted, which is at the phase level, and that's just an addition of all the sub
Right.
phase.
And this is where it's important, especially in that internal kickoff call that y'all have for each project that you get, that you review these tasks with the project manager and with whatever pre-sales engineer did the project, all right? And that those people should both be in that internal kickoff, and if they're not, you should push back and be like, I want.
By that point, isn't it a little too late?
No, it's not. And let me explain why. Let me get to the point I'm getting to. It could be too late in some respects, but let me kind of walk through what I'm talking about here. So you get this project and you start looking through these tasks, and you've got 301 total hours, all right? You want to understand, pre-sales engineer, if it's for you want to understand, James, what's your thought process, all right? Why, and you especially, because James, it takes, he's not a normal mortal, so it may take him something to do, 30 minutes to do that would take normal people 3 hours. And you want to understand that. Now, I'm picking on him a bit, but sometimes that sort of thing happens where you want to understand.
That's probably because he's running this silicone processor in his brain.
Exactly. you know it. So you just want to understand what his thought process was behind each of these tasks and the amount of time, and make sure you agree with it, all right? And especially if you think, dude, it's going to take me way more time, then he can go ahead and add a project issue ticket. It is too late in the sense that we may not be able to go back and get more, all right? Okay? But there could be a scenario where, oh wait, the customer told me they wanted X and you're telling me this is Y, and we could find an opportunity for a change order or something not being right, all right? Which is why the internal project kickoff is so important, all right? But it's important for you to understand what he's wanting you to do in the project and the time you have allotted for each task. And then, as the consultant, remember I didn't say engineer, okay, because we're consultants here, all right? The difference between engineer and consultant is what?
What is the difference?
Knowledge levels.
Knowledge levels? Not necessarily, okay? All right, it's about ownership, okay? A consultant is going to take ownership of the entire project and, understand what the project budget is, what the project resources look like, what the overall customer objectives are. That's a consultant. An engineer is going to just care about getting their switch configured and not give a shit about the rest.
Wow.
We don't want engineers.
Can we do that instead? As things are right.
Yeah, I get it, but that's what we're trying, a key differentiator in what we're trying to do. Does that make sense, guys? All right? I'm not saying that you have to, be super, welcome to Walmart. You know what I mean? But we do want to try to give that extra level of service, and we also, as engineers, want to be able to understand the entire project, because if you understand your piece in the whole thing, then you're going to deliver a better outcome. All right, and you're going to help us, working with the PMO and the account manager, deliver a better experience for that customer. All right, so that's just, I'm soapboxing a bit on this. I apologize, guys, but it's super important that when y'all start a project, you understand what the tasks are, what the time allotted for those tasks, and that also is a great time. Maybe you're like, look, engineer, I disagree. I think this is going to take that many hours. That's going to take this many hours, and you forgot this part of the plan and this and the other. So maybe you want to add a few tasks in the work plan. You can do that in the internal project kickoff, all right? What you want to do, and maybe you want to move some of the hours around, you can do that, as long as you're staying in that overall budget, all right? If you determine in that internal project kickoff this budget's not enough, then that's going to be addressed right there in that internal project kickoff. So you want to have those conversations, and you want to understand that when you accept that project from pre-sales, that you are comfortable with the amount of time they gave you to do it, and that you're managing those tasks to that time, and that you've spoken with the project manager to make sure the timeline that she has in mind and that she's talking to the customer about, you can actually meet that. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. So just this whole work plan page and the project issues page, that's designed for you to, and I know I'm talking more projects right now than search tickets, but this is important since we mentioned project issues. But it's really important for you as the engineer working on a project to understand what those tasks in that project are, to make sure you're in agreement with the pre-sales engineer and in that internal and with project management, and that you make any adjustments right then and there in that internal kickoff before you have the kickoff with the customer. So that when you do have that kickoff with the customer, you're ready and prepared, and you know all the tasks, and you know how much time it's going to take you, okay? And the project manager knows how much time it's going to take you, and you've already discussed the business objectives of the whole project with the engineer who designed it, the pre-sales engineer. And so everything should be perfect at that point.
Easy peasy Japanese, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or lemon squeeze, out of your preference. Yes, Mitch?
Two quick questions. We're having the internal meeting.
Yep.
With the pre-sales. That doesn't get charged against the time on this ticket. That's probably just charged as like a normal internal meeting. Connect points, correct?
There's actually time built in where that's pulled out of, and it should go to the project. The internal kickoff call should be billed against the project.
For example, on this
I think
ticket that
Sharon
I'm
puts on
showing,
project management.
we have a line item for project management, and that's where
Correct.
the project kickoff and everything went.
Correct.
Okay.
Like the initial internal calls and the calls with the customer can actually go in there if we're just discussing the project and not actually doing anything.
You got it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So if Sharon and Aaron have subsequent conversations with HireRight about this project, when they have those WebEx meetings, all those meetings are recorded under project management?
Typically, that's where Sharon puts them, yes.
If it's just discussing the project, then yes. If we're having a WebEx discussing and actually doing things, like if we're the portion is to actually do the design, then I put it under design and planning because it's actually design and planning work.
Ooh, okay.
If we're literally discussing like the scope of the project,
Okay.
non-technical things, then I would put it under project management.
Non-technical, non-technical project management,
Right.
technical design, okay.
Correct. Yeah.
If it's actually, if it's actually going under here,
Okay.
then, or if I'm actually on there doing design discussions or
Technical.
Making design decisions, then I put it as design work because it is design.
Technical.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Anybody have any other questions about project issues? Going once, going twice, so, all right. The last one I have on the list is closed versus canceled. And this, I don't know if we actually had a specific procedure as to when to use these. but I can tell you what the differences are. When you have a ticket and you close it, obviously, like we had mentioned before, there are three statuses that set. There are three statuses that set this hidden flag that a ticket is resolved. We have closed, no notify, and cancel. Closed is the primary one, obviously. That if you actually work a ticket and make a resolution, or the customer says, "Hey, we don't need this anymore," you put any time onto it. If any time has gone onto it, you want to use one of the two closed ones. You do not want to cancel. The main difference between closed and closed no notify is that by default, when you close a ticket, it will send a ticket closure email and a link for the survey to the customer.
Yeah.
Closed no notify does the same thing without the emails. We created this to be able to close really, really stale tickets that were fairly certain, like the customer has abandoned. So we don't email them 3 months later for a ticket that's stale, kind of thing. Cancel is for things that shouldn't have been a ticket. Easy scenarios would be spam that gets sent to help desk and email at byteworks.com. Customers sometimes will ask a non-technical question and accidentally CC in help desk, so it automatically creates a ticket. And the biggest problem with that is it'll probably create a ticket for every reply all that happens since then. From a back-end perspective, the difference between closing a ticket and canceling a ticket is that a closed ticket will still show up if the customer requests a list of tickets or goes to their portal and looks up tickets that have been closed. Tickets that are closed will be in there. Tickets that are canceled would not. So, like most of the time, I only use cancel tickets on like spam. That's primarily the main thing I see it on. But sometimes, like somebody will open up, or if somebody opens up multiple tickets, you can also do that. But that's also where bundling or merging comes in.
Yeah, if they can't.
As far as like, if a customer opens up the ticket and before it can get assigned or have any work done, if they reply again to it saying, "Never mind, you can disregard," that's a toss-up as to whether we want to close it or cancel it.
Yeah, it
My
does.
thought on that would be close it, just so that it will still show up in their list, so they can see somebody did open it, but it ended up being a non-issue kind of thing.
Completely agree.
Yep.
That would be the case.
So I would only cancel it if it never should have been a ticket in the first place, like if it was an accidental email or spam.
Copy.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Be a big
I don't know
problem
anybody
if
else has
customers
any-
can't see their
any thoughts
tickets.
about it.
Right.
Use for the close no notify is when you close one and then you get an out of office from them that reopens it.
Yeah, it's
Under
very
close no
different.
notify, so it doesn't send them another survey.
That is another,
Fascinating.
yes, that's another reason. So if you close the ticket and it gets automatically reopened by a triple O email, then you can then reclose it with no notify so it doesn't do it again.
Wow.
Unfortunately, there's no way to, I don't think there's any flag that says a survey has already been sent about this ticket, don't send another one.
Okay, I do have one more question about ConnectWise that has not been covered here. How do you do a search for historical tickets on a specific customer? I've been shown this before, but when I tried to go back and find it again, I couldn't find it again, so.
So, the actual ticket search, the search up here is notoriously horrible.
Yes.
Look at
Yes, it is.
So by default, I think it's search. I don't know if it just searches by default or there's a child ticket. It finally came back. But like if I put in XYZ in here instead, basically it's a search ticket and it'll search anything and all the people capable of for XYZ. This can get overwhelming if you're searching for a specific customer. But there's a couple ways you can do it. You can narrow it down by company. You can narrow it down by contact, things like that. So this is the more powerful, but maybe not, and maybe a little too TMI way to do it. Another way to do it is under companies. And this is actually what I use most of the time. If you go to companies and say, I'm gonna look at exhibit us, and I can go to the service tab and see all service tickets that ever done, and I can search for it here. This field is,
Yeah, that's probably what I was shown, but I couldn't remember you had to do it with companies. Okay.
yeah, this one, like for example, this field is wildcard capable, but you do have to specify wildcard. Like if I wanted to search for this ticket by the word DNS, this is not gonna work.
Oh, it's not? Oh.
Because DNS isn't the first word in the ticket, or isn't the only word in the ticket. What I'd have to do is put star there.
Star DNS.
There it is.
So it searches from the beginning of the ticket. You don't have to put a star at the end for some strange reason, but you have to put a star at the beginning. What I always find myself doing is just, if I'm searching for a keyword, I just search that way. It'll search for any ticket in this field that has DNS as a word in it. And then obviously you can search just by open tickets, just by closed tickets, etc.
I mean, I'd argue I would do a star after DNS in case someone put in the ticket like DNS hyphen something. So that way it'll pick up DNS.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Star after DNS too, okay.
I don't know why this doesn't work.
Well, because it's like
This
you
does,
said, it's searching.
That's supposed to be star, and this does. Because it's the same concept, it doesn't matter, it doesn't care as much about trailing wildcards as it does primary main wildcards. So that's just an issue on their end. But
Thank you.
if I do DNS service, then it comes up with those. If I leave that star off, it still works, etc. But yeah, I always put stars on both sides.
You can always put a star on both sides, okay.
That's another one. Yeah, it doesn't even matter if it's a space or not, because it found this, having a slash right after it, instead of just a space. So I think the star only matters at the beginning, but I always just do it, in case they ever fix this, I always do it on both sides. So there's two different ways to do it. This to me is usually quicker, because they've had a lot of problems with this. The biggest thing about this search is you can search more than just tickets. You can search tons of things. It just defaults to tickets up here.
Like what? What else can you search for?
You can search activities, which we don't use. Agreements, you can actually search companies, configs, which we don't really use either, but you can search contacts, POs, opportunities, all the things that are over here. It just defaults to tickets. But I can say, okay, I did a search for DNS. All the tickets for DNS are assigned to one of these engineers. So I want to say, okay, all the DNS tickets that James Schumann worked on. And it's going to filter it down.
There it is. Wow.
And there it is. And then I only want to worry about Elanco ones that James Schumann worked on. And it's going to filter it further down to 10. So there's the 10 DNS related tickets that Schumann worked on for Elanco. And if I really want to get low, I can say only the priority 3 ones. I can also say only the ones where I was also a resource.
Wow. All right.
So this is definitely the more powerful one, but it might take a little longer because it's such a broader search. And like I said, half the time I do these ticket searches, they fail. So maybe, I haven't done it in a while, maybe they finally fixed it. It used to be that you would just search for a ticket number and it would time out and fail on the back end. So in case this doesn't work, there's definitely other ways to do it through the company, like the company's tab, or through contacts if you want to search for contacts, etc.
Thanks, sir.
I think that's it for the initial list and the one add-on. Does anybody have any other impromptu questions?
Yeah, Josh had one, didn't you?
I just asked you.
Oh.
All right, well, what we'll do, I appreciate everyone, first all thanks Aaron and Rob for helping with that, and appreciate everyone participating through that. I know sometimes that can be monotonous, but it's important that we all, Mitch had some great questions, and in general that we keep revisiting ConnectWise and making sure we're doing these tickets right. It is, the bread and butter of the business, so to speak. This is how we all get
I said
paid.
ConnectWise is better than Remedy ever would.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
definitely better remedy. You're right about that.
That brings back memories.
ALTS,
I got
oh
one
god.
correction. Well, thank you, Aaron, and thank you, Rob, for putting in some input.
Yeah, right.
It's
Ooh.
really Aaron that's doing it. I don't like
Yeah,
taking
thanks.
too much
Good
credit.
job, Aaron. Thank you, sir.
They're the same remedy though. That brings me back
Thank you,
memories.
Ross, for all the moral support.
Yeah. Rob and I had to go through an implementation of Remedy years ago. so
Oh,
that brings
Remedy
back
is a beast.
Just
Woo.
real bad memories.
Wow.
But anyway, appreciate that from everybody's perspective, participating in that. I'm gonna take over the screen and share back for a second. We'll wrap this up. Next week, just go ahead and let y'all know. You'll see that I'm gonna cancel our Elton next week because I'll be traveling again. I'm sorry. We should have the Elton the week after that, at least tentatively right now. That's still gonna happen, but I'll let y'all know if anything changes because there is a chance I may have to end up traveling that day as well, but I will let y'all know. In the meantime, if we're not having the L10 and y'all need me, please know, and I say this all the time, but sometimes, I know that I get so focused on some of the other efforts I'm doing and y'all are kind of left on an island, so I apologize for that. But I just want you to know, anyone can always call me, message me, and I will try to message you back ASAP. So I only say that to say don't feel like you can't still reach out to me just because I'm out of town. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's recap real quick. Go to conclude. All right. To-dos, I still owe that from a couple weeks ago, which is the notification for new project issue tickets. Talk to the ELT team about the Byte awards, which that'd be fun. Add CW category to all CW related KB articles. I'll knock that out. And then we'll go through the ratings. I'm gonna work from the bottom up. David?
Alright, looking for the mute button. 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10, I think is what I heard.
Yep.
Okay, Kyrie?
I'll give it a 9, very informative.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
Yeah.
Jay?
Too.
Awesome. Hank?
Wow. Let me give it a 10, man. This was off the chain. Aaron did knocked out the ballpark.
Well, thanks. Awesome. Josh?
9.
Okay. Rick?
8.
Oh, wow.
Mitch? Mitch.
That's a 10 by default.
Yeah. Mitch, just giving you a 10 so you speak up.
Wow.
Doug?
Give the meeting an 8, but I'll give Aaron and Rob a 9.5.
Aaron?
I'll do 9.
Awesome. Good job, Aaron. Rob?
9.
And I'm going to give us a 9 as well.
You've got Jay.
Jay, I asked Jay. Jay gave me his.
Oh, no.
The only one we didn't hear from was Mitch, who's muted because he's dealing with the postman or something.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like that. Sweet. All right. Appreciate it, gentlemen. We will see you next week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Well, yeah. I'll see y'all. I
2
just may not
weeks.
see you.
Well, I mean, the week after that is Thanksgiving.
Right.
Oh, is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh, we're going to end up doing 2 days.
Ooh,